If you're thinking of building a bag for 2026, then it is the most interesting time for me right now. With the amount of clubs you've got to choose from, it's gotten really interested. Iron, hybrid or fairway wood. There are so many different options. 3 of these, same loft. How do they perform different? Which one should be in your bag? A couple of things you should be aware of before we start. The iron and the hybrid are the same loft and they are 25 degrees. The fairway wood is actually 24. It's close as we can get for this testing. You also need to be aware that the length of shaft is different for each of these clubs. And that's also important when you go out and test them. The longer shaft is on the fairway wood, the shorter being on the iron. So already we should see certain discrepancies, but it's important for you to understand these clubs perform very, very differently indeed. Loft and shaft length are only some of the parameters that will play a key part in how this ball gets from A to B. And that's what we'll discover in today's video. And at the end of it, you'll have some key information to decide if any of these should be in your bag into 2026. And I've got to say, one of them for me is a real standout product. Right, we'll start off with a 5 iron. So loft, same as a hybrid, shorter shaft. If you've been playing golf for as long as I have, then this has been the kind of go-to for most of those past 40 years. I am starting to now question whether or not I can get more help out of hybrids and fairway woods. But I still don't mind this thing. I like hitting an iron, and let's be honest, there's no better feeling than clipping one of these clean and seeing some nice results. Let's see what this thing does. That's a nice enough strike. Straight down the middle of the fairway, a dare manner. A little bit of cut on it, has it? Not a great deal. Let's see what this does, because that was a decent knock. So top left-hand corner, keep your eyes peeled. 181 carry. 19 launch, 4.5 spin, landing at 47.3 degrees. I might as well not hit another ball because, to be quite frank, that is as good as I've got with a 5 iron. It doesn't get any better than that, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And it's still got to be said, there isn't much of a better feeling than hitting a crisp iron. However, we'll go one more, and we'll have a look at the numbers later in terms of an average between all of these, but that felt so good. Let's see if I can do it one more time. Do you know what? That's not bad either. Close the face a tad on that one, but still more than happy, and I think it won't be too dissimilar. We're on the fairway. Absolutely loved every bit of that. 183 carry. Launching 17.1, a little bit flatter and landing a little bit flatter. But that ball speed out of my club head speed with an iron is phenomenal. These irons, in my opinion, and it's a PXG club, I don't mind saying it, it's a 0317T, is their standout iron over the last few years. It's incredibly good, and this is still a very compact, almost blade-like, certainly muscle-back type iron. Anyway, I can't say no more about the clubs. I'm going to move into the hybrid, and you might as well stick around, because when I stick to this address, I say it in every video, it all depends what you like to see, but what I'm getting is, I see a lot of loft, and I see a lot of club head, and I know it's a repeated message, but it's the same thing. I now feel like this thing is going to fly because of that bulk and because of that mass. That might be the case. It's got a lot to live up to after what I've just hit. And that's been closed down left a tad again, a bit like the second iron shot. There's a danger as well with a hybrid. Let's not skirt on the fact that these can go left. You can shut them down a bit. We got that longer carry, but I may be forced a little bit. I think the 5 iron put it under a bit of pressure. Let's try one more. Much better strike. You see the ball flight, even on TrackMan, on a virtual course, you see how it differs. You can see it just goes up in the air, and you'll see when you look at launch and land angle now. It's launching 19.7, a couple of degrees higher. It's coming down a heck of a lot steeper, 46.9, and it's a 182 carry, so similar sort of number. Ball speed to club head speed, still very good. I mean, that's performed really, really well, but I think it's been slightly overshadowed just how good that iron performed. But what you'll see when we look at the data at the end, what I caught off camera, you'll start to see some of the numbers that are interesting are the likes of the launch, the land angle and the spin rate. So they get there the same distance. We've got a situation there where they've arrived at pretty much the same carry distance, but they've got there in a different way. But then we go into the 9 wood. The 9 wood for me is an interesting club. I've not really tried, I can't remember trying a great deal of these over the years. I've tried it over the last month, and this and the 11 wood are, I think, going to be the most interesting clubs into 26. They're more available from more brands, and I think they're going to do a massive job in helping a lot of average golfers. If your swing speed is dropping, this is going to be the route to go down, and hopefully I can show you why. There's no guessing that I think this is the one that's potentially the, and I haven't hit it as well as I'd have hoped to. But anyway, let's see how that goes, because this will be an interesting one. Could have just gone up, which is what I feel like it did. And that's a danger as well. But how much was it damaged? I still got 180 carry. But look at the difference now. 22 launch, spin is still up there, coming down at 49.4. So we're carrying 180 yards with almost a duff, I'll be honest with you. And it's the rest of the parameters are so interesting. It just really makes you wonder. Now that's a different ball. Now let's see the numbers on this thing, because that's a decent strike. Now my guess is it's gonna carry a yard or two further than the others. Yeah, goes up to 190, 20 launch, 4,500 revs to spin, coming down at almost 49 degrees, almost 50 degrees rather. This thing is an absolute weapon, let me tell you. It's a real eye-opener as well, because it gets there fairly comfortably. And I hope you agree, the first shot, I didn't think would get 160 yards, let alone 180. And that's what this thing does. The extra mass that you've got means that you get away with that kind of shot, and you still get 180 yards out of it. But more importantly, not the carry distance alone, you still don't start to lose the other parameters. So the launch was still there, it still managed to get the ball up in the air, it still maintained spin, and it still maintained that land angle. So I like to quantify forgiveness as exactly what we've just seen in that first shot that I hit with this. Almost, you know, heavy, fat, and still got away with it on every TrackMan parameter. That to me is what forgiveness looks like, and it's what I want in a golf club when I'm stood over the tee. Right, you've seen them out here. That was a dare manner, by the way. Let's just have a quick look at the numbers, and I can give you a bit more of a better average and understanding how each of these are very, very similar in loft, but perform very, very differently. Right, hopefully the idea of all these videos indoors, winter, not great out on the golf course, but you can start to plan your golf bag for next year, and you can start to understand how you should be selecting clubs. So let's first of all 5-iron, shorter shaft, so therefore slower club head speed, 83 mile an hour. It produced a 118 on average ball speed. Look down them numbers there, 5 shots, a mile or 2 per hour difference between the 5, which to me says it's consistent. Same with the launch angle, 18.2, spin at 4.1, more than acceptable. 91 peak height with a 5-iron, still getting up and out there. A 176 carry, excuse me, and a 44.2 land angle. So that's a more traditional 5-iron kind of ball flight. Flatter, comes down flatter, doesn't get as high, has got a space in most golfers' bags. As long as you can still generate that kind of club head speed, you can still clearly get performance out of a 5-iron. When this starts to fall, that's when all these numbers start to become questionable. So have a good look at that. When we go to the 5 hybrid, straight away, because of the length of shaft, the first number that changes is this, 3 mile an hour faster, simply because we've got a longer shaft on it. So ball speed jumps up to 125 relative to that, okay? No secret energy going on here. It's just simply swinging faster, ball speed's faster. Launches though, slightly flatter at 17.5, which was a surprise, but spins higher considerably, therefore reaches a peak height higher. So it's starting to spin, it's starting to rise, gets that peak height to 103 and carries out there and almost an extra 10 yards as well. That's a nice combination of all those numbers, launching 17.5, spinning at almost 5, peak height to 103 and a 185 carry. and coming down at 47.4. I'm doing a lot of these kind of movements lately on camera. It seems a better visual to help you understand what it kind of looks like. And again, like I said, flatter ball flight on the 5 iron, more of a higher, steeper ascent and descent with the 5 iron. 9 wood. Another 3 or 4 mile an hour faster, club head speed. You know the answer now. Length of shaft, ball speed jumps up, relative. Launching though, 19.2. So this thing is launching, is it higher than both? Yeah, it's higher than both of them. So launching higher, spinning at 4.9. So this is the loft of a 5 iron, spinning at 4.9, arguably a really good number. Peak height, 120 feet. I mean, that's in the clouds. Coming down at 50 degrees with a 187 carry. So I said at the beginning of the video, and I'd hit these numbers before we started, there was one club that sort of stands out for me, and it is that 9 wood, because to me, it's a bit, yeah, it's a club that I would have never considered hitting, and it produces a set of numbers that are, in my opinion, almost perfect. The one debate you would have, depending on where you play, is it going a little bit too high? Because other than that, there is not one set of numbers in there that you could be critical of, in my opinion. So when I think about my bag for next year, the one club that's really kind of, every time I hit it, jumping out at me, is this 9 wood. And I'm really considering that that is the route to go down for me next year. I almost feel like at 187 with a 9 wood and 176 with a 5 iron, they're again a club that both are still in the bag. So that gap in between the 5 iron maybe being the longest iron and where it goes to up to driver becomes really interesting, and really needs some time and understanding as to how you want to put your bag together, and more importantly, what works best for you. Right, that's me done. Like I said, cold, wet, windy outside. This is the best we can do right now. Some data analysis to try and help you build your bag in 2026. Hope it helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.